The kingdom of Lagilu was torn into two on the day of their famous annual festival. It all started when the king, Oba Ademola, had twin identical strong sons as his firstborns. No one could tell them apart at birth. For the first time in our history, we had two boys who were both rightful heirs to the throne, but only one could be king. Their names were Akin and Ajani. From the day they were born, people whispered about who would take the crown. Traditionally, the firstborn would be the heir apparent, but due to a mix-up by the midwives, no one knew which of the two identical boys came out first. The rivalry between Akin and Ajani became obvious right from when they were little boys. Akin was bold, fearless, and known for his strength. He was the type of leader who inspired people with his bravery, but his pride sometimes got in the way. Ajani, on the other hand, was calm and strategic. He wasn't as flashy as Akin, but he had a wisdom that made people trust him. The trouble escalated when Shade came into the picture. The most beautiful woman any of us had ever seen. With her skin like bronze and eyes that sparkled like the morning sun. She was the kind of woman who made every man's heart race. When she walked through the market, people stopped what they were doing just to watch her. Both Akin and Ajani fell for her hard, and that's when their rivalry aggravated from a fight for the throne to a fight for Shade's heart. Everyone wondered who the Oba would choose to be the next king. But then, as if the rivalry wasn't heated enough, both princes began to pursue Shade. Akin, with his charm and confidence, was sure he could win her over, while Ajani believed his quiet intelligence and thoughtful nature would capture her heart. Shade was caught in the middle. She wasn't just any woman. Her beauty alone could make a man do foolish things. And as the days went by, the brothers' competition for her attention became fierce. The villagers could see it in their eyes. The rivalry wasn't just about the throne anymore. Things boiled over during the annual festival, where the king would usually make important announcements. This year, everyone expected him to name the heir. People were anxious, taking sides. Some supported Akin, believing the kingdom needed a strong, fearless leader. Others backed Ajani, thinking a wise and strategic ruler would bring peace. As the festival went on, tension filled the air. The king sat on the throne, frail but still dignified. Then, before the king could speak, Akin stood up. He declared, in front of everyone, that he was the true heir, born to lead the kingdom to greatness. The crowd gasped. Ajani wasn't going to let that slide. He stepped forward too, calm but angry, and accused Akin of arrogance, saying that the true king listens before he acts. Before anyone could stop them, they were at each other's throats, physically fighting in front of the whole kingdom. The two of them, once brothers, were now sworn enemies, locked in a violent struggle. It was heartbreaking. These were two princes, sons of the same father, reduced to nothing but fighters. The king watched in silence, his face filled with sorrow. He didn't say a word. How could he? How could he choose between them? But then their mother, Queen Aduni, intervened. She rushed between them, tears in her eyes, and screamed, "Enough!" Her words were heavy, filled with pain. She reminded them of their bond, of the blood they shared. She begged them to stop, not just for the sake of the kingdom, but for their own souls. She knew that if they didn't, one of them would end up dead, and the kingdom would lose both. For a moment, the fight stopped. Akin and Ajani stood there, breathing heavily, their eyes full of anger and pride. But neither could back down, not with the entire kingdom watching. Then, in a voice weakened by age but filled with authority, the king spoke. "No son of mine will take the throne through bloodshed," he said. "I have watched you both fight for power, and in doing so, you have both failed me." His words cut through the air like a knife. The crowd was silent. "I will not name a heir today," the king continued. "You will both prove your worth, not through force, but through wisdom. You will leave this palace for 1 year. Whoever returns with proof that he can lead with both strength and wisdom will be the next Oba." The brothers had no choice but to obey. And so, they left the kingdom, both determined to prove themselves. Shadi watched as they both left, unsure of what the future would bring. A year passed, and the kingdom buzzed with anticipation. Everyone wondered who would return and what they would bring with them. Would Akin, the bold one, come back victorious? Or would Ajani, the calm strategist, prove his wisdom? Ajani was the first to return. He came back not with riches or stories of battle, but with a small group of people he had helped during his journey. He had led them through hardship, showing compassion and intelligence. The villagers were impressed, and Oba Ademola saw the maturity in his son's eyes. It was clear Ajani had grown into a wise leader. But just as everyone thought Ajani would be named the heir, Akin returned. He arrived at the village gates, his clothes torn and his body scarred from battle. He had been through more than anyone could imagine, but there was something different about him. His once fearless eyes were now quiet, almost humble. It became clear that while Akin had survived many dangers, he had not come back to claim the throne. He had learned, through pain and loss, that being a king wasn't about power or strength. The king, seeing the change in Akin, called the two brothers to him. "Ajani," he said, "you have shown wisdom and ability to lead with a calm mind. You will be the next king." Akin stood silently, accepting the decision. He didn't fight. He didn't argue. The year away had changed him. He no longer craved the throne. There was one thing he still wanted: Shadi. In the time the brothers were away, Shadi had watched and waited. She had seen the rivalry between Akin and Ajani and wondered what the future would hold. When Akin returned, she saw something different in him. He was no longer the proud, reckless prince who only sought power. He had been humbled by his journey, and that made her see him in a new light. Even though Ajani had won the throne, it was Akin who won Shadi's heart. The day Ajani was crowned king, Shadi stood by Akin's side. The kingdom celebrated Ajani's rule, but in the quiet moments, people whispered about the love between Shadi and Akin. It was said that Ajani ruled wisely and led the kingdom to prosperity, but Akin, though he did not wear the crown, had won a greater prize: true love. In the end, both brothers found what they were truly meant for. Ajani, the wise and calm prince, became the king he was always destined to be, while Akin, who had once fought for the throne, found peace in love. Though their rivalry could have destroyed them, it led them to discover their true paths. The kingdom flourished under Ajani's rule, and Akin lived a quiet life with Shadi, the woman who surpassed his pride and loved him for who he had become. Thanks for watching. Kindly comment, like the video, and subscribe to this channel. Bye for now.